Okay. These are the things I'll be talking about just real quick here. We'll just move right into it. Oh, by the way, isn't it nice to see somebody else up in front for a change? Yeah. Okay. So as Christine just said, we have we sponsor our boat launch inspections. The state pays for part of it. Emma Township gives us gave us a $1,500 grant this year, and we pay for 119 hours at $22 an hour. So that's part of what was in the budget for the AIS. And actually, we had budgeted for $3,700, I think it was, but we actually only had to pay about $2,500 because last year, because of COVID, the state had cut the AIS budget. They reinstated it this year. Okay, just a reminder to everybody, if you go into a lake that's infested with AIS, go to the decontamination station before you put your boat or watercraft back in our lake. And it's located near the dump, and you should call ahead. And there's the phone number, 218-252-6738, and they'll meet you there. Otherwise, leave your watercraft out for 2 weeks if you've been in a lake with AIS. Oh, COLA. So COLA, Hubbard County COLA will award grants up to $2,000 per year for projects that are related to the environment, the lake, or whatever. So we did apply for a grant this year, and as Punky said, we got, I think it was, what, 1,300 or something like that. What? Yeah, 1167. And what we're going to do is this, actually it's going to start on June 20th. You might see a boat wandering around the lake doing some vegetation sampling. So for those of you who were here back in like 2006 when we had Dan Kittleson on the lake, he and two other fellows did a vegetation sampling where they went around and they did like, I don't know, I think it was 180 points or more. So now we've subcontracted that out to RMB Labs in Detroit Lakes. They're going to do that for us. And the total project will cost about $2,300. And so the grant pays for half of that study. And they have the results from the study that Dan Kittleson did. So they'll be going out to some of the same, well, all of the same points that Dan and his group did.
So, Regina, will the association pay for the other half?
Yes, we're paying for the other half, the 1,100 and some, yeah. AIS update, really nothing new. Some of our neighboring lakes do have AIS, so be sure to look at for the orange sign on a lake other than Little Sand. We want to keep that orange sign away from our lake. That the orange signs tell you what AIS they have in their lake. Lead and loons. I don't know if you all saw this. I tried to get an email out right before I got a kit on Wednesday from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. And at the last COLA meeting, they announced there was a presentation. They said some 20 to 25% of our loons die from lead poisoning, and it just takes a small bit of lead poisoning. So lead that drops to the bottom of the lake, it gets mixed in with gravel. The loons go down there. They need the gravel for their gizzards, so they will ingest lead that way. Also, of course, we all know some fish end up with fishing tackle in their bodies, and fish is loon food. So the MPCA is doing a program trying to collect lead tackle. And remember, lead is poison, so you don't throw it in your trash. It has to go to the dump, to the special toxic depository or whatever. But I will, I actually put a box back here. I'm presuming you all didn't see that. There's a box where we would collect and we would dispose of that, that poison for you. And we also have some samples of lead-free tackle back there. Technically, I'm supposed to, if you give me some of your lead, I'll give you some lead-free. But if you want to take some samples. I don't know if I even have enough for everybody. But I'm going to have this box out at the annual picnic, so you'll have another chance for us to get rid of your lead tackle. Oh. You could take it to the dump and just tell them you have a toxic. I mean, it's kind of like where you take the paint and the other toxic materials. Yeah, and I was just here. I don't know. You probably can't see this, but these are just some. They sent me a box full of this lead-free tackle. It's kind of cool. And let's see. And then there's a flyer back there too that just kind of talks about this program. I put a number of things over on the bar back there. One other thing should have mentioned when we were talking about AIS is I just picked up a few of these that are back there. This is a card that identifies different types of invasive species. I scanned that, and I'm going to try to get an email out to everybody so you have this in your computers. Okay, Restore the Shore. I think you all know what that is. The DNR and SWCD encourages everybody to try to keep a buffer down by your lakeshore to prevent poisons, fertilizers, so on, to get into the lake, as that will harm our water. So every October, we put out an email, and we get it. Glenn Gapp is our coordinator for the RTS. He collects your orders for trees, shrubs. It's kind of a low-cost deal for these shrubs, so you can order from him. And then they'll be distributed in May. And actually, we had a little example of using the Soil, Water, and Conservation District just the other day, and Cindy has the experience, so I'll have her share.
And Brian, please feel free to share and jump in as well. There's kind of a cool program right now that anybody can take advantage of where somebody from the Shoreline Advisors will come out in a tandem team with somebody that's doing an internship from Bemidji State as well as somebody from Hubbard County. And Brian and I live at the little HOA down the road, and our cabins are at the bottom by the lake, and we get a lot of water runoff from County Road 7. And we have a couple of concerns. One, when we get a lot of rain, it wrecks our road. And one, it's very expensive to get that repaired, and we have to get that repaired several times over the course of the year. But very importantly for the lake, there's a lot of runoff that could potentially go to the lake from the pollutants from the road, but also just with the sand and gravel that can go into the lake. And we've added some buffers and we've added some berms on our own, but we really wanted to take advantage of this consultation. And we did it yesterday, and it was actually really cool. Sharon Netzel from COLA came out along with Jake Shaughnessy, who's teaming up this program, and they're focusing on the man-trap chain of lakes and really looking at Little Sand. And they walked through our property. We talked about the concerns that we had with the water runoff and where we see water pooling. They were looking at the trees. They were looking at the underbrush and came up with lots of ideas for us of things that we were able to do on our own. And then, of course, things that, that could potentially cost kind of much more money over time. There are a number of grant programs available. That it will include kind of consultation costs. In our case, we might need to utilize an engineer to come out to really look at our property and kind of design better water runoff and better water management. But there's lots of resources regarding kind of native plants that we could plant right along Highway 7. Something very simple, talking about the buffer along the shore. We've been trying to grow grass on our property over the last few years to help with the runoff, and the grass has been cut pretty close to the shore, and they, again, talked about really leaving that buffer there because running a lawnmower along the shore as well, they said, especially with the shoreline being so wet right now, will break down the shoreline and will contribute. He was talking about up to 2 inches a year of erosion just from the sort of conditions, or 2 inches a year with the potential erosion with the sort of conditions that we have right now, which accumulatively is really quite a bit. So it was really pretty interesting, and I'm not sure what we'll do with all of the ideas, but we had lots of ideas, and we can keep you posted. I think there's a some brochures behind, I think they're behind you, Rob Hallstrom, and there's also a sign-up sheet there that the Shoreline Advisor team would love to come out and do a group presentation. So if there's enough people interested, we could gather, and they even talked about going and looking at some different properties to get some ideas. So please let me know, or if you're interested, there's a sign-up sheet back there on the bar as well. So if you have any questions, you can talk to Brian and I about the consultation yesterday. It was really interesting. So, thanks.
Okay, eyes on the water. Some of you still have, and I hope you're using them, plastic. Wayne, what do you call those things?
Well, there's the tube ones and then there's flat ones that various.
And cement blocks.
Yeah.
Okay, some detectors for to collect to see if we have zebra mussels, and some of us have put them down about. We keep them a foot from the bottom of the lake, and we inspect those usually. Well, sometimes during the summer, but for sure by the end of the summer, see if we have any zebra mussels. And Eyes on the Water is part of a COLA program where they survey the people that have done that to see if we have any issues with AIS or with zebra mussels in particular. Okay, maintaining the health of Little Sand Lake. We do this. I don't know if you all know this, but there is a lot of work that goes on this lake to make sure that it's a healthy lake and that it stays clean and clear. We're one of the clearest lakes in the state, and we want to keep it that way. So there's at least 13 different activities that we do. And of course, we need more volunteers. We've got a couple that will be joining us this year. Thank you to those, and Larry will talk about that. And thanks to Christine, she checked in with the DNR about stocking our lake. About 4 years ago, the DNR came and visited the board, and they said, you know, stocking Little Sand, it doesn't do any good. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying this is what they told us. And it doesn't seem like we're really increasing the walleye population. But that has changed, and they are stocking it this year, and they will be stocking it every even-numbered year from now on that we know of. Okay, you can't really see this maybe on the TV monitors. I did send this out in a Facebook post. Yes?
You know why it doesn't do any good?
Oh,
Because the reason it hasn't done any good in the past to stock walleyes is everybody goes out and catches these hammer handles, and guess what they eat? Little walleyes. And so everybody catches them and releases them, which means our lake walleye population goes in the tank. So their suggestion was stop releasing the hammer handles and you'll have walleyes.
I hear they make good fertilizer. All right. What's that? Oh, they're good for rhubarb. Catch those northerns and throw them on the rhubarb. Okay, so on the TV monitors more so than on the screen, you can see some of the activities that are done on our lake. Everything from picking up on County Road 50, lake monitoring that we have volunteers go out 4 or 5 times a year, summer or more, and we have some folks that go out and monitor vegetation. They go down, they rake the bottom of the lake to make sure we don't have milfoil or curly leaf or an AIS vegetation. So this is just a list, and there's a lot of volunteers, and I can't even really, I mean, we will be acknowledging them, but if we miss somebody, I'm sorry. So these are just all the pages of the things we do and the people we report to. We monitor the depth of the lake. Janet McMillan and Marshall Howe had been doing that for many years, and Rob and I are taking over that. We read a gauge that the DNR installed by our lake shore, and we will report every week to the MPCA what the water depth is. And by the way, it's way up this year if you haven't noticed. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Larry. He's one of our water monitoring people, he and Mark Doda.
Thanks so much. I know I'm loud enough. I'm always loud enough. Okay, I've just brought a few things today, so I shouldn't keep you more than 2 hours, I don't think. But anyway, you probably wonder every other Sunday or so you see a pontoon sitting outside the landing at about the 65, 70-foot level, just sitting there with an anchor down, and these guys doing goofy stuff with all these coolers. We're not drinking beer. You know, we're out there working, but people come by, boy, do they really wonder what's going on in that thing. So that's what we're doing. We're doing 4 tests or so every single time we go out, and we're going to go through those. So first of all, I wanted to say that this lake, folks, is an absolute gem. I mean, I've been on a lot of lakes. This lake is a gem. I come from Colorado. They don't know what a lake is. You know, if you could, a Secchi disc you wouldn't have to have a rope longer than a foot. You wouldn't be able to see the depth. You know, this lake is precious. You make it precious. Also, the Zorbaz makes it precious. Everything about it makes it precious, especially the attitude. We go places here in the county, and where are you from? Oh, Little Sand Lake. Oh, wow. You're the social lake, aren't you? Yeah, well, I think we are. But, you know, we do it in a responsible, good manner, and we're known for something. You might as well be known for that. But anyway, I'm very, very, very proud to be part of Little Sand Lake. You know what they say when you're not, let's see, what is it? When you don't have what you really value the most, that's when you miss it. Well, that's people, places, or things, by the way. It's not just lakes. But anyway, that's how I feel. When I'm not near this place, I think about it for 8 months. And then start packing about 2 months ahead of time. I only got a little pickup truck, but it takes a long time to pack that truck. You got to make sure it's right. So anyway, I'm really happy, and I'm speaking for Karen as well, to be here and back at the lake. And proud to say that our kids, 2 of our kids, have bought into our property. So this place for us will remain in our family long beyond the days that I'm here to talk about it. I decided today to take this talk and bust it into a couple of pieces. It's because there's 4 tests to take, and you can't do this with 1 person anyway. You need to do it with 2 anyway, sometimes 3, depends on. So we're going to just skim over it, because if you want to get in depth here, we'll be here all day. We're the data collectors. We're not the analyzers. We're not any of those things. So any in-depth questions on this, we might have to look at you like a deer in the headlights. But as far as the data that we're expected to get, we do get. We turn into the DNR, we turn into MPCA, we turn into all sorts of different places throughout the state of Minnesota. So everybody has a record of what's going on here. So most of our testing, we're doing at least 4 times a summer. 5 times a summer? Okay, 5 times a summer. Some of the things like Secchi disc we're doing twice a month, so that'd be like 10. Okay, and then Villager, which is larva testing for zebra mussels, that is something we do twice a summer. So my right-hand man in all of this is sitting right here, Mark Doda, and his son Ben. I guess Ben's here somewhere. In the past, I want to recognize people also. Okay, Wayne Swanson, for sure. Anytime you need something done, and you're short a man, if Wayne's around, Wayne is the guy that'll jump right up. Another guy over here, Larry Bexell. Larry's always willing to do it, so we're happy for that. Marshall Howe has jumped in on time to time. Past partners have been Rod and Cheryl Westrom, sitting right in front of me. They've taken care of this same job for a number of years. Vern Thompson and Jim Thompson, which are past, but boy, gosh, I tell you, years and years they were involved in the same thing as well. Dan Kittleson, of course, we all know. I think he kind of came with the lake, actually. And then I can't forget a very important person that has also helped us, and that's Mary Grayler. So future persons wanting to help us with this endeavor are Jerry Kalusny and his wife Ann, Rich Soderberg, he's back here, and possibly Ron Johnson. Now he's not here, so he can't say anything. So Ron Johnson and Shelley are moving in on the point down by us on the north end. So if you digest these names, a lot of them, you'll see that these are people that you see in other committees as well. And my point here is we really want you to be involved here, no matter what it is. I don't care how minuscule it is, we want you to be involved here. There's a lot of things to do, a lot of committees to feed and work with, and you'll have a heck of a lot of fun. You'll meet new people, and you'll be happy with yourself, and you'll be happy with what you're doing for the lake. Your contribution is great. So there's always room for more. Okay, I'm going to start with the water quality testing now. I'm going to turn the first part of this over to Mark, and that has to do with Secchi Disc and the RMB. RMB is a laboratory over in Detroit Lakes that does all of our analysis from our data. So he will talk to us about both of those tests.
This is the Secchi disc right here. And as Larry had indicated, we go out to a same spot, try and be consistent all the time. And we go in around 75 feet of water, and we drop this off twice a month. And last year, when I dropped it off, the first time it was mid-May. This thing is 30 feet. I dropped it to 30 feet. I could still see it. Mid-May, 30 feet. So, important, and like Larry was saying, it's data gathering, and we need to do that so they can monitor the lake. Again, we do it twice a month. This May wasn't 30 feet, was around 25, but I went out and it was windy, you know, and I think people can attest that this year it's been windier than most, and so that's what happened there. Then we get this cooler, and we do this, I believe, once a month. Yep. And with that cooler, we are supposed to fill this jar. And this jar goes to a lab, and I believe it's in DL is when Detroit Lakes. So that's what we do there. And then we also gather water, and we mix it with sulfur in this little thing right here. And again, that all goes to the lab. So how do we do all of that? We have to use a tool, and that's what this is. So we dip this in the water, and that's why having a pontoon is really nice. And then I also use my fishing boat, and then I do a spot lock with my trolling motor, and it holds me there so we can do that. And so that's half of what we do, and I'm going to give the rest over to Larry.
What's that? Okay, I think we're going to jump over to dissolved oxygen. That can be a complex subject. What is dissolved oxygen? You know, we all need oxygen, all of us, right here, right now. So do the fish. Okay, and so how does that happen? We ingest it, they absorb it. Okay, so we need to figure out how that works and how the various layers of the lake are formed. So I couldn't find anything that had a Minnesota author to it on YouTube that had anything to do with dissolved oxygen that was shorter than 20 minutes. And I figured you'd probably get up and leave. So I figured, well, what I do is I found someone that was shorter. The cute little guy that they're talking about is down in Texas in a pond. It's not a lake, but the same principles are there that are here. So I'd like to go ahead and spin that now if we could, Jacob. It's okay. You can skip by the ad too if you want. There's an ad there.
Hey y'all, Jack Myrna here, fisheries biologist at Pond King. Today I'm out doing a dissolved oxygen content survey on a lake here in Texas. I'll be going around to a few different locations and testing the dissolved oxygen content at various depths at each location using this here dissolved oxygen content meter. Dissolved oxygen content is the single most important factor to to the health of your fish, especially in the summer months. It's the #1 contributor to fish kills in ponds. So I'm sure you've been swimming in the summer months and felt that really warm water on top and that cold water down by your feet, or if you go underwater about 4 or 5 feet. Well, what you're experiencing is feeling the thermocline, which is that layer where the cool, dense water on bottom and the warm, lighter water on top separate. There's basically 3 layers in a lake in the summer, and it's that cool, dense level on bottom, the warm, light level on top, and that middle stratification layer there called the thermocline. Now, the thermocline inhibits a lot of the high dissolved oxygen content water on top from mixing with the very low dissolved oxygen content on the bottom. And this can seriously reduce the volume of water that your fish are able to utilize throughout the summer. For example, say on the bottom cool dense layer, the dissolved oxygen content is only around 3 or 4, which can put a lot of stress on fish. Well, they're probably not going to be utilizing that area, so they're going to be restricted to only staying here on the top level of water. I've got the dissolved oxygen probe in the water, and I've let it sit a little bit and sit on a number. So I'm going to do that for about every foot until I reach the bottom. And at that point, I'll be able to look on here and sort of see where the thermocline or the layer of stratification exists in the water column. The dissolved oxygen contents that I've been getting here are ranging from around the upper 7s to the low 4s, and that's from the depths about 1 to 9 feet. So I can see here at about 7 to 8 feet is probably where the thermocline stratification layer is, because the dissolved oxygen drops from 6.39 to 4.48 in about 1 foot. Now that I've got a good idea of what depth my thermocline layer occurs at, I went ahead and just wanted to test the very bottom of the lake. The depth is around 16 feet here, and at the very bottom of the lake, the dissolved oxygen content is only at about 0.41 milligrams per liter. That's quite a big difference from on top of the water here, when it was 7.81 milligrams per liter. So you can get a good idea of how much the dissolved oxygen content level fluctuates throughout the depth of the whole pond, and really how much space the fish actually have to utilize here in the summer months. An average dissolved oxygen content of a lake in the summer is probably around 7 or 8 up on the top level here. And the low is probably around 5. Dissolved oxygen content levels around 5 can become seriously stressful to fish, and dissolved oxygen content levels around 2 or 3 can even kill fish. Now, if we're talking about cold water species such as trout, dissolved oxygen contents around 6 can actually be lethal. On ponds without aeration, there's 2 main sources of oxygen entering the system. One being fueled by wind, which creates turbulence, which can add oxygen into the water. And 2 being plants and algae, which are undergoing photosynthesis, and oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis. Now that's why in the daytime, the dissolved oxygen content is usually a lot higher than in the nighttime. In the daytime, the sun's out and all the plants and algae are producing oxygen, and in the nighttime, the sun's gone and all the plants and algae are using oxygen. The oxygen content is usually the lowest really early in the morning, around 5 or 6 in the morning, just before the sun's about to rise. And it also is the same for very cloudy days versus really sunny days. The really sunny days are going to produce a lot more oxygen than the very cloudy days. Well, I hope you learned a thing or two today about dissolved oxygen content level, water stratification layers, and pond turnovers. Once again, I'm Jack Myrna with Pond King, and I hope you all have a great day.
Okay, so oxygen comes from 2 ways. Photosynthesis, which is the plants along the shore as well as on the bottom, providing it's not too deep. And then the other would be wave action, anything from wind. Whitecaps aren't all bad. Whitecaps are good. They give us good oxygen, so that's a good thing. Or, hate to say it, but wave runners, stuff like that. Anything that churns the water up a little bit is going to give us oxygen, and oxygen is a good thing. Okay, thermocline is a layer, as he said, in between the warm and the cold. So that's what you hear about a lake turning. You wonder, what's a lake turning mean? I mean, how does that happen? Well, what happens is the warm on the top starts to get cooler in the fall, and cooler and cooler and cooler. And pretty soon that thermocline, which was cooler than the warm anyway, becomes the top layer. Now, when that happens, that thermocline starts to die off because it starts to get as cold as what's down below. And believe me, down below, all the way, if we went out there today, I could show you 39 to 41 degrees down below. Okay, so it gets really, really bitter down there. Okay, so what happens when that level ends up on the top, ends up being colder than what's on the bottom, guess what? That's what we get. So we get a turnover. We have no thermocline in the wintertime. It's all in the summer, has to do with the heat. Okay, so these are the sheets that Mark and I fill out. You can't see those from here, but there's a lot of data on here. And these are every foot. Mark's going to get that probe out and show you what that looks like. And we take this probe down every 3 feet from the surface until we notice a big difference all of a sudden. A big difference for us, we're looking for temperature differences. He said dissolved oxygen differences, but they both kind of go hand in hand. 3 degrees. Now that's what we drop down. That little toy right there is about $5,000 that we drop down. And what that does is monitors the amount of oxygen per milliliter of water. Okay, now our lake is typically from, 10.7 or so at the top, far different than the little pond in Texas, right? It's better. Okay, and we go all the way down. When we go all the way down, we're going down to, let's see, what's one of the low ones here? 2.47 is where we stopped at this one. This one was at like 75 feet. Mark and I have actually seen it down in the 0.0 range before that. Show them that monitor. Test kit. Just.
I never get to see this part. I'm always hanging over the pontoon.
There's an advantage to being senior citizen. Okay, that looks simple, but there's a lot of goodies inside that little boy. So, okay, where's our thermocline? Lately, I'm going to say lately, meaning the last year to two, I don't think it's varied that much. Wayne will correct me if I am wrong. Anywhere from 18 feet down to 24 is typical. I'm looking at some here that go from 24 to 29. I'm looking some here that go from 18 to 23. And another one that goes from, 27 down to 31. So you're looking at a 4 to 5 foot band. That's separate water. That's the stratification layer called thermocline. So hopefully you're a little more familiar with that. Now, don't ask me how the oxygen bounces off of it and all of that, because I'm not that good at that. But that's the stuff that we monitor and send in. And frankly, I think it's fun to do. It's fun. It's kind of rewarding. You kind of see where it was last month. You say, oh, boy, hey, we're up a little here. We're down a little here. So it's a good thing. We enjoy doing it. So the next test that we do is Villager. I want to get over there. Mark is my Vanna White. Okay, so this is a Villager net. And what this looks for is larvae for zebra mussels. This thing is long, and Mary Grayler bought this for us, by the way. And you think that's, no big deal, just a net? That's about a $300 net. I mean, these are really special nets, very, very, very fine. You notice on the bottom there's a little spigot, and there's a little area for you to dump what you get. So once the larva gets in there, no matter what you do, unless you dump the whole thing out, the larva is not going to escape it. It can't get out through that mesh. So we take that and we put that in the bottles, and then we put 3 parts alcohol to 1 part of the larva. Okay? And so we send that in. So the time on that one isn't that critical, because it can last for days because it's been killed with the alcohol. So that's it, folks. That's kind of what we do. The 4 things that we do for water quality. I think it's fun. I think Mark always would agree. I think he's on it as well, and we make a good team. But we're wanting to step down a little bit. So if anybody would like to step up, there's room for more. That's for sure. So I think, Christine, for that, that's about all I got.
Let's give it up for Larry and the team. Thank you, Larry, very much, Mark and team. And if you think you have to be retired to volunteer, you don't. Mark and I are still working, as they say. Everybody works to some degree, but we have jobs that we have to show up at. So please volunteer. We really are hoping to spread our ranks of volunteers. You can see how this all works together, right? It's important we watch out for AIS and the chemicals and the runoff that Cindy talked about so that we have good oxygen quality and we have good fish so that we want to keep living here. Maggie.
Excuse me, I just want to say that if you're wondering where your dues go, that fancy oxygen monitor, we split the cost with Big Sand Lake, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago in purchasing some of that equipment. So the equipment needed to do the monitoring is not cheap. Your dues pay for that.
Thank you, Maggie. Our dues pay for that, and that's very true. The DNR doesn't give it to us free. And again, some of these things you don't know unless you ask, right? Okay, we've got a lot of appreciation going on, a lot of people to thank. So as I read, if I read your name, if you just like wave your hand or something, that would be great so everyone can kind of see who y'all are. Luann O'Neill, a big thanks to Luann, and I have it on the next slide too, for doing our newsletter. Luann she has a job as well outside of the home, and she takes a lot of time to put that newsletter together for us. You should see the condition we give it to her. And she makes it beautiful, and then we post it to the website. We'll also be posting the presentation so that you'll have that as well. But Luann could not be here. They are traveling to a wedding in Wisconsin, but we do thank Luann for her creativity and all the time she puts into that. Okay, this is our webmaster and technical guru, none other than Jacob Nolette. Thank you, Jacob. It's a big deal because most of us are women and Jacob gets told what to do a lot. So thank you, Jacob. Directory, Karen Netland. Karen, where are you? There you go. Thank you, Karen. Please keep your information up to date. If you don't know what to do with it, just send me an email at littlesandlakeaa@outlook.com. Be sure that you add that to your address book. I keep getting rejects from Gary Mackner and a couple of other folks. So if you're not getting email, find me before you go home and give me your email, and then I'll tell you what to add to your address book so you get it. Because I want to make sure everybody has it. We can add multiple emails per property, so just tell me who to add, and we will be happy to do that. All right? We've got Facebook is Randy Herda. Is Randy here with us today? Nope, couldn't make it, so big thanks to Randy. If you have questions about the Facebook, direct them to any one of us. We generally will allow other people not on the lake to join. However, if we see behavior we don't like, and I'll give you a good example. Is Sandy here? Younger? I didn't see Sandy this morning. We recently had a longtime lake member pass away, and someone approached within minutes of the posting of the decedent notice to buy the property. And we really felt that was in poor taste. It was not someone who lives on the lake, and so we kicked him out of the Facebook. It is a private group for those purposes, so we can converse and work with each other for the good of the lake and our friendships. Larry and Renee Bexel, are you here? County 50 pickup. Hello. We haven't met. Nice to meet you. Thank you for what you do for the lake and the road. And then Nancy and Mark Joda, fishing launch and kiosk. Mark, thank you. And all of the people that Larry mentioned, of course, thank you. Social committee, Phyllis Trutna, Dar Swanson, Karen Odegaard, and going on the committee is Vicki Johnson. Give a wave. All right, thank you. And a big thanks, special thanks to none other than Janet McMillan for her many years of service on top. Janet recently had hip surgery, and so she is stepping off the social committee, but we're really grateful for her support. We've got Healthy Lake volunteers, Wayne, Larry, Mark, Janet, and Marshall, and now the Magina and Rob team joining that team. And then new starting is, as Larry mentioned, Jerry and Ann Kaluzny, and then Rob and Magina. So big thanks for all you do. Yep, and especially Larry. All right. Thank you to our loon liaisons, Dick, Roger, and Steve. Thank you for your work. I learned about the gravel, so thank you for that. Appreciate all the knowledge. And then You might have seen this or not. In the Park Rapids Enterprise, none other than our own Marshall Howe was doing a good deed and picking a loon up off of Highway 34, and had a little accident. He got a little more than he bargained for. A little bit of problem with his pants. You know what they say about good deeds? They don't go unpunished. So that was a joy for him. But big thanks to Marshall for rescuing the loon from the highway. But this was in the Enterprise. In the presentation, we give you the link in case you missed it. He wrote a little article about it and Care for Our Loons, which is really fantastic. All right, social events. Where is Phyllis? Come on up, Phyllis. Give her a thank you, everybody. And hold it like this.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Okay, the social committee has put the social committee has put a calendar out now for, well, it was for May through September. And I don't know if everyone has gotten it. We do apologize. It has not gotten on the website yet. So hopefully that will happen. That will happen soon. But everybody should have gotten it through email. Okay, so we're looking forward to the coffees. They're coming up. We have one in June with Paul and Lori Isaacson. I think they're here. They want to wait. Okay. And July, we have Jan and Jerry Swedberg. And in August, we have Dave and Amy Savage. And then in September, we have our new social committee member, Vicki Johnson. Over there, yes. So we're looking forward to that. And if anyone ever wants to host a coffee, just let us know, like early spring before we plan the calendar, and we'd love to add you to our list. So, and then we're taking reservations now for the men's breakfast that is next Thursday at West 40. So let me know by Tuesday if you're wanting to come to that. And our first pontoon, full moon boat pontoon party is next Tuesday. And I think the weather is supposed to be good for that. And you don't need to have a pontoon. Boats are fine. I think just because pontoon rhymes with moon, we say that, but it doesn't have to be a pontoon. And the 4th of July, the boat parade, we had a wonderful turnout last year, so we're looking forward to that. And if you want to decorate your boat or pontoon, that's great. You don't need to. I think last year we had 40-some. And also we had a great turnout for people that sit on their docks and wave to us. So that's great too. And that starts at 9 o'clock. And then you can, if you're interested in going into Park Rapids for the parade in town, you can make that by 11. So that works as well. So, and let's see here, what else and the walking group. We're trying to get that started back up this year on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we changed it from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And so we started this week. We had 2 on Tuesday and 1 person on Thursday. So please try to come and start walking. And Monday nights at Zorbaz, I think, has been a good turnout throughout the year. So that's good. Oh, okay. The walking group meets at the Heartland Trail parking lot in Dorset. Yeah, so we'd love to have you guys come. That would be great. So let me see if there's anything else that... Okay, I think we're ready for the next slide. Yeah, the next, oh, we're there. Okay. Yes, I've had people ask, is this a new thing in Colorado? So we are having, so you can put away your pirate and your 50s and your Hawaiian and now bring out your Western attire. So we're having, on the July 30th at Hallstrom's, we are having a Western annual picnic this year. So hope you will all bring out your cowboy hats, but come even if you don't have Western attire. We want everyone to come. It'll be a potluck, and we look forward to seeing you there. So, any questions? Okay, I think that's it.
Thanks, Phyllis. Yes? Oh, we meet for the boat parade at Zorbaz, and we go around the lake. Oh, 9 a.m. Okay. We've got Mark Doda is going to talk a little bit about our next big activity coming up. Oh, the direction?
Yeah, the direction goes, I believe we're starting near Zorbaz and we go around.
I'll bet. Last year, Chris got approached by this lady who was on her dock with her children waiting for the parade. Well, the parade always has gone around the lake this way. She said, well, I'm on one of the last areas, and by then a lot of people start to disperse, and her kids were all bummed out because they didn't see the parade. So Chris said, well, we can
Stay together until we're really back to
well,
Zorbaz.
or go the other way, is what you said. We could start, rotate one way, and then the next year go the other way.
Regina, can we turn it around and go the other way?
So when people start to line up in the bay, they're lining up this way this year instead of this way. Just.
You lead the pack, Dave. We'll go wherever you go.
Well, I know, but if everybody's having to turn around and
But you know, that's not so bad. You could go both ways and meet in the middle, turn around, go back.
Thank you, Mr. Holmgren. Yes, I did. Thank you for reminding us.
Okay, now it works. So the Little Sand Fishing Contest, I think this is the 20th, and I think I've been running it for 5 years now. And it's going to be August 6th, as noted in your newsletter, and it always follows the Saturday before the Taste of Dorset. Registration is between 5 and 5:25, it looks like, or 5 and 5:15. And that's down at the public access, and it's only $1. And if you want to contribute more, great. That just goes to the association. The contest runs from 5:30 to 7:15. And bring your families, bring your friends. And as Wayne has noted, we have hammer handles out there. Bring them in. I'll have buckets. I'll have buckets for your little hammer handles. And we have lots of prizes. So some of the prizes that we have here today will have the same types of prizes at the fishing contest. And so fishing is done at 7:15. We do our measuring, have discussions and talks and funds, and then we do the prizes. Categories, children is 10 and younger, youth 11 to 17, and adults 18 and over. So. And we're looking for volunteers too. If you want to help, that's fine. It's my wife, Nancy, and Jerry and Ann Kaluzny. They're usually there, and we're taking registrations. And so look to see you there. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. All right, big thanks to Mark, and thank you, Dave, for reminding us about the boat parade. Okay, this is the board. We've got Magina, past president, Cindy Nolette, our secretary, completed 1 year. You can see this, and you'll see this when we post it. Karen Netland, Glenn Gapp, and Jane Amble, director at large. Big thanks to members rolling off the board. Punky as treasurer after 18 years. Steve Trutna, 2 terms as VP, and Larry Odegaard, 2 terms as director at large. Big hand, please, for Punky, Steve, and Larry. All right. Please join us and acknowledge, if you know them personally also, because it's a big deal to spend your personal time serving the organization. All right. We've got Magina to present the slate of candidates.
All right, since we have a number rolling off, we need new ones coming on. So I'm presenting the nominees for our board. Karen Netland is going to move from being a director, and she's running for vice president. Jane Amble is moving from director, running for treasurer to replace Punky. New directors that we have coming on board, Greg Dravis, Jerry Kaluzny, Sandy Younger. By the way, are any of you here? I know Jane and Karen are, and is Jerry? Where's Jerry? Oh, hi, Jerry. Thank you for. Oh, Greg. Yes. Okay. Greg, Jerry. Yeah. Yes. Greg, Jerry. I don't see you, but okay. And Sandy, is he here? Okay.
How about Jane Amble, the new secretary?
Well, where's Jane? Jane's back there, and Karen is back there. Who else do I have? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the slate of candidates as presented by Magina. Thank you, Leah. Thank you. A second? Second, who is that? Cindy, thank you. All right, all those in, or any discussion or any further volunteers to be on the slate of candidates? Next year. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay, the slate of candidates is approved. Yeah. Okay. New business, we just have a couple of things for you. The directory is available always online. We don't print it every year because it goes out of date the day we print it. Password protected on the website. If you don't know what it is or you need help, just email littlesandlakeaa@outlook.com. The email, go to the website, contact us, and we can get it for you.
Christine, we can tell, Karen is working on that, on the directory. It's not quite up to date, right, Karen? Is that where we still are? If you know of anybody that has moved in that's new to the lake, let Christine know and she'll get it to Karen. We want to make sure we catch up with those people and get the correct information in our directory.
Yes, and we currently have, according to Punky and Jane, 109 paid memberships. We have about 140 lake property owners, so we're getting there. It's cheap, it's $35. So please feel free to encourage your neighbors. If you don't see your neighbors here or don't know that they're members, ask them about it. Alrighty, we have another 6 or 8 people on via Zoom, I think, Jacob. We're glad that they were able to join us too today. Help Wanted, we always need volunteers. It's not a full-time job, we promise. And then payment of dues, online credit card, and that's our business. Okay, so this is my son. When you put the presentation together, you can promote your family. Yes, sir, Rod.
I have a concern, and I think others do too. There are a number of us that have been on the lake, since the early 60s, and there are a few that have been here longer than that, bless them. We have noticed quite an increase in the wave runners, and I heard nothing more than just a few snickers when the term was mentioned today. The wave runner are the boats, and I'm not chastising you at all, but there is quite a number of damage that is being done by the wave runners. They're the big boats that sit low in the water and move generally very slow, that throw out a fairly large wave. And when those waves come and hit the shore, they often will throw the water up well into the yards of a number of the people. Not only that, but the thrust that's caused by the wave goes down up to 16 feet before it hits the bottom. And debris is also thrown up at that time, which makes its way towards the shoreline. And if we would just ask that those people that are using these boats, and I'm happy that you're able to get fun out of doing it with your friends and with your relatives, but you've got to stay more towards the center of the lake. I think basically that's what we're asking, so that the water isn't disturbed and raises so high as they come by the lakeshore cabins. And it's very important. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Rod. Since you mentioned it, I do want to add to what you said, so thank you for bringing that up. I call it Christmas Tree Point. I think the Fishers also call it Christmas Tree Point. Who's here from the Fishers? I think it's Fisher, right? Fisher Baker. Yeah, you're Bakers and Fishers. Thank you for bringing it up, too. We went after the University of Minnesota data, and the study is on the website, and we can post it if you haven't seen it again. But there was a deep study with the U of M and the DNR, and wave runners in particular are damaging all over. again, I'm not criticizing either. I'm sure it's a blast. But we do ask, wave runners by regulation are supposed to stay at least 150 feet from shore, at least. Jet skis are at least 100, as well as other boats. So unless you're going at a trolling or a slow leisurely pace along in the evening, that's fine. But it's that damage to the lake, and we really don't want that tree to fall into the lake for a lot of reasons, right? It's beautiful and it's a really nice landmark. So if you have friends or neighbors who have those boats or you see them, it's okay to ask them and point out that they really should stay from shore to protect the wildlife and the nature. And Rod, thank you for bringing it up. We appreciate it. All right, we're at the point, unless there's anything else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the official meeting, but don't go anywhere because we have prizes. But we need to end the meeting first and then do the prizes. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. So move, Maggie, thanks. And then a second? Rachel, second. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Gotcha. All right, all those in favor to adjourn the meeting, say aye. Okay, any opposed? All right, the meeting is adjourned. I'm going to hand the microphone over first to, yes? Yeah, we're going to very quick, Angela and Larry are going to share some things that they offer our members, and I'm a live model for Angela.
I don't know what to do with that. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Angela Albee. We are off of Glider Drive, kind of right on the other side of the point from Hallstrom's. So I do a bunch of apparel and other items. We have a little lake logo, which is being modeled by Christine here. But that can be put on anything, embroidery, screen printing, and whatnot. But I also, anything that you can think of that you want to get to, for your family or whatnot. Like my husband and I got a bunch of these rain ponchos that Christine is holding here, with the old Albee's Little Sand Resort logo that I recreated from a picture from the 70s. So we give that to our family and friends, anybody who visits, and they have come in handy, I will tell you that. And then I do have a couple door prizes and stuff. So if anybody's interested in either, little sand lake wear or anything that's specific to your family, the shirt I'm having, or that I'm wearing right now, the Sorensens did a few years ago when they moved to the lake. These are the 4 places that they take people anytime they have guests. Zorbaz, of course, Itasca, Park Rapids, and Dorset. And I just love the shirt so much, I printed one for myself. So if you're interested, I will stick around a little bit. Otherwise, you can find me in the directory and on Facebook.
Thanks, Angela. All right, Larry.
Real quick. Yeah, we're making signs still. We've been making them 10 plus years, I think. So we make dock signs, cabin signs, road signs, metal signs, wood signs, 2-sided signs. I don't care what you have. I'm sure we can find out something and make it for you. So rather than give you a whole bunch of explanations, I'd rather have you just contact me if you're interested. We don't advertise. We're just word of mouth. Find me in the directory, give me a call. Come on over to the shop. We'll show you some fonts and materials. We'll show you some samples. You pick from there because you design it. I don't. Okay. In most cases, we use lake logos with it and everything else. So basically, that's it. Just come whenever you want. Thanks.
And you can call Larry. I called Larry for our dock sign, and he walked me through my choices, and it's lovely. And now that we've redone our deck, we're ready to hang it. Okay, now these are all the thank yous, and we'll post this on the website for businesses that donated prizes for our prize drawing. Special thanks to Jacob and his technical support and expertise. And again, thank you to Rob and his team. Thank you, thank you. Okay, Cindy, you're up for prizes.
We have a great selection of prizes that we've gathered from the local businesses. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the businesses and just chatting with the owners as I picked up prizes, and others have as well. So many of them have expressed gratitude and appreciation, particularly over the last couple of years. I've heard from so many of the small business owners about the extra costs that they've had to pick up in order to maintain their business with COVID, and again, just showed a lot of appreciation for those of us that have supported the businesses. So we have a lot of wonderful offerings today. And we will start here.
You want to deliver? What's that? I can pull it and announce if somebody wants to
You want to pass them out? Okay, I can do that.
Okay. Or cut people. Okay. Well, first of all, did I move something? Okay. First of all, anybody that got their dues in before today is eligible and is in the list. So not everybody will be here. So we'll be setting those aside that for folks that aren't here, and we'll deliver them or get them to them. So just want you to be aware of that. So let's go over here. I'll pull, and Cindy can. Yep. Cindy, you pick which ones that we're going to give away.
You can start at any of them, really.
Okay, what are we going to give away first?
Start with this.
Okay, we have a lilac bush from Rhodes Nursery.
Beautiful.
Michael Hegna? Note here.
Okay.
Of course, I was hoping somebody would be here to take that home. Okay, let's put that. Oh, sure, great.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfect. Okay.
All right, I better get over here, huh? Okay, what's next, Cindy?
Why don't we, this is a beautiful print from.
A print from Barbara Joe. She's a gal that lives on the lake and is a professional photographer. She's donated several of these. And there's going to be some at the annual picnic, too, that are going to be prizes. Oh, I like these people a lot. Hank and Dolly Hallstrom.
She's related.
Oh, what's next?
$20 to La Pasta.
$20 to La Pasta. Greg and Sandy Johnson.
Where?
Next.
Angela Albee.
From Angela Albee, a wine tumbler with Little Sand Lake photos on it. Jerry and Jan Swedberg.
I know they're here, right?
Got another one from Angela.
Another wine tumbler.
Tumbler. She said wine or coffee.
Or coffee, okay. Chris and Dee Goppelrud. Are you here?
Not here?
Okay, so if they're not here,
Right in here.
Okay.
oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that's-
Perfect.
Okay, next.
We have Companeros, $20.
Companeros, $20. William McKinnon. Here? Anybody live near them? No?
Okay.
Oh, would you be willing to deliver it? Oh, thank you.
25 to Cindy Lou's.
25 $25 to Cindy Lou's. $25 to Cindy Lou's. Kenneth Gronewald. Not here.
Oh, Brian can take it.
Okay.
Perfect. Brian at the end of the table there. $25 to Tippy Canoe.
$25 to Tippy Canoe. Mike and Mary Nelson, they're not here. Oh,
We'll take it.
okay.
We'll take it.
25 to the Good Life.
25 to the Good Life. Charles Kohlmeyer.
Another Barbara.
Another photo from Barbara Joe. Chris and Amy Sorensen. Okay.
25 to Unknown Legends.
$25 gift certificate, Unknown Legends. Don and Punky. Catlin?
Here.
25 to Zorbaz.
25 to Zorbaz. Wayne Gostad. Here? Oh, somebody will take it for him? Okay, oh, perfect, great, thank you.
15 to Beagle and Wolf.
$15 to Beagle and Wolf Bookstore. Kelly Groller. Not here, okay. Somebody will take that for him?
Somebody said I could.
Well, we really appreciate that.
Chicken Coop. There's a Chicken Coop for 20.
$20 chicken coop. Steve and Rachel Fisher.
Thank you.
20 Dorset Liquor.
20?
20.
20 Dorset Liquor. Jane Amble.
Wait, is that for because she's joining to be
Where is she?
treasurer?
Oh, over there.
Another 20 Dorset Liquor.
Another,
Thank you, Jane. I'll trade you.
another 20 to Dorset Liquor. Rick Anderson. Anybody know Rick? Another 20 for Dorset Liquor. Jeff Madsen. Not here.
A 25 L&M Fleet.
25 L&M Fleet. Jim and Sue Nystrom. Not here.
Another Barbara Joe.
Another Barbara Joe print. By the way, she sells her prints at
The Cattail.
Cattail Creek in town.
Beautiful.
This goes to Carol Langen. Okay, Carol's here. $20 to Beyond Juice in town, Park Rapids. Peggy Lund. Right. $10 Beyond Juice. Louise Calhoun.
And another 10 to
Where is
Beyond
she?
Juice.
Is she here? No. Oh, okay.
Another 10 Beyond
Oh.
Juice.
Oh, sorry about that. Another 10 to Beyond Juice. Tony and Maggie Yerkes.
Lovely gift basket from Dorset Candle.
Gift basket from Dorset Candle. Dan and Joy Jacobson.
Are they here?
Yeah.
Where are they? Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. We make candles, by the way. It's super fun.
It's really cute. 25 to Dorset Candle.
$25 gift certificate to Dorset Candle. Dick Smutzler. Not here.
Thank you, got it.
20 to Chops and Pops.
20 to Chops and Pops. Josh Vingy. You want to take that? Okay. By the way, I just wanted to mention something about Chops and Pops because I picked that up. They're in business Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Their building is still for sale. So he said, if my building sells, I may not be able to honor the gift certificate, so use it soon, okay?
25 Rebel Brewing.
25 Revel Brewing. Mary Bowman. Mary here? Okay.
25 Iron Horse.
25 to Iron Horse. At Erin Galsky, I know she's not here. She called me. Oh, Maggie. All right. That's it? Well, that was enough, wasn't it? And by the way, we have lots more great gifts for both the fishing contest and the annual picnic from the vendors that have been mentioned. They're very generous. Oh, you do it. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes, be sure to do that. Absolutely. Thank you. Last but not least, we have a gift certificate for Jacob for all he does for us, for getting this set up online, so we can have more folks in attendance. Thank you, Jacob. Okay.
Okay, and none other than Magina to say have a great summer. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. And if you need me to give me your email, come on over. Otherwise, we got to clear out so Rob can do some real business. Thank you, everyone.